All right. Well, hello. As I was saying this morning, I asked some questions on my regular website or on my regular Facebook, and I'm going to try not look like a crazy man back here talking to myself. I've already told one of the waitresses I'm going Facebook Live. But anyway, I asked this morning if you have any questions that you would like for me to answer, and I mean tough questions having to do with politics, religion, writing, music, movies, whatever. And Donna was the first one to ask the question. And Donna, I'm not going to try to say your last name. I got the Donna and I got the Clancy, but the stuff in between, sorry, I don't know. So I'm not going to risk it and butcher it. But anyway, her question was, what is my take on so many old movies being made? Is it because Hollywood can't come up with anything new on their own? And so what I did was I sat down and thought about this. So here we go. It's either going to be a total disaster or you guys might find this interesting. By the way, the Packers are getting slaughtered. Okay. So here we go. I don't, as far as the first question is concerned, she asked two. So I'm going to address the first one first, obviously. And then, I don't mind remakes so much, especially if they're old sci-fi movies, because back in the day, their reach kind of exceeded their grasp. Their vision couldn't match their technology. So yeah, I'm on Facebook Live. I'm not talking to myself. So like I was saying, it didn't, they had the vision, what they wanted to do, but they couldn't match it. For instance, like when you look at the old King Kong movie made back in 1933, the stop motion film was great, but now think of Jurassic Park. To the contemporary eye, the old King Kong is horrible, or it looks horrible. You and I watch these movies for nostalgia, which is great. But you can't sit down a 12-year-old boy in front of this and have him watch Kong. He'll be like, "What is this? This is horrible." He won't be able to suspend his disbelief. Whereas if you look at, for instance, Jurassic Park, I mean, the velociraptors in that movie looked real. So there's no speed bump in there. You don't have to stop in the movie and go, oh, well, it's stop motion. They've got to stop the camera and move the monster and then take another picture and keep it going. So the 12-year-old boy, 13-year-old boy, or the 13-year-old kid, whoever, is going to be more able to relate to Peter Jackson's King Kong. So I think that's a great reason to remake, to redo a movie. But if they do it, it should be well done. I'll give you an example, like The Time Machine in 1960, starring Rod Taylor. It's a classic. It's a great story. It has a great ending. But the special effects will be laughable to the modern eye. You would look at those Morlocks and just go, what? Those look terrible. Guys in suits. And also the Planet of the Apes was redone. The problem with both of these remakes is that they strayed from the original storylines, whereas the previous Machine, the character is exploring the future. In the previous Time Machine, he's exploring the future. In the modern Machine, he is self-absorbed. Planet of the Apes original had one of the most astonishing endings in the history of movie making. But the modern Planet of the Apes just totally fumbled the ending. It was just stupid. So I don't think all old movies should be remade. Just for instance, like Singing in the Rain. It's great. You can't improve it visually. I feel the same about Star Wars. But if a movie's going to be remade, you should not change the story. These old movies, they succeeded because of the quality of the story, in spite of them not being able to represent it, the giant gorilla accurately. The story was good. Planet of the Apes, the story was good. The Time Machine, the story was good. So you shouldn't change the story. You should just update it. Just like with, for instance, like if Lord of the Rings was back in the day was published on paper, just because you update the technology and publish it on Kindle doesn't mean that you change the story. Now, I'm not talking about adapting novels to movies. That's a whole different thing. So that's a different idea. But if you mess with the plot and you mess with the characters, you're taking a big gamble. Making a movie more believable visually should be the goal, and not changing the story. With your next question, there are two big problems. Is Hollywood running out of ideas? Yes, but not for lack of potential. They've narrowed their focus and it's heavily influenced by political correctness since the 70s. There are many examples, but the best example is military movies, for instance. For the most part, military movies are anti-military. You suck the soldier into the theater, and then you humiliate him and his family with the type of story that you make about them. The trend has been better, I would say, over the last few years, as there's been sort of this rebellion against that. 13 Hours, American Sniper, Lone Survivor are good examples. But even these movies foster cynicism about the military service and/or actions. I guarantee you make a well-done American movie about a military victory that saves innocent people and defends liberty, you will have a huge hit on your hands. And I don't know why Hollywood doesn't do that. I don't understand that. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. It's because of their entrenched political belief system. But most modern creative types, let's just give you an example. Most modern creative types, if you painted an American flag on an X-Wing fighter, in other words, if you made Luke an American soldier attacking the Death Star, but you painted an American flag on it, what they would do is they would give him PTS because he accidentally bombed an Ewok wedding. It's just left-wing political correctness rules Hollywood, and it ruins a lot of potential. The second part to your question is a breakdown of structure. That's a problem that's called by "there are no rules" philosophy, which is fostered by the postmodern world we live in. I won't name the writing coach, but there's a writing coach out there. Literally she's a screenplay. She's a coach for novelists and screenplay writers, and she has a website literally named "There Are No Rules." And years ago, I fell victim to this anti-intellectual thinking, and I would wait for inspiration. I learned some hard lessons. Most of us aren't Stephen King or Steven Spielberg. Maybe I should change my name to Steven. But there are tribes of screenwriters out there churning away, creating dribble. Because of the no rules philosophy, it just has a stranglehold on the creative culture right now, and I mean that. I believe that. I believe I've seen it not only in movies and novels, but in music as well. But again, if you have the instinct, i.e., if you're a Stephen King or a Steven Spielberg or an early George Lucas, your instinct will lead you in the right direction. You've still got to have a great inciting incident. You've got to have a first plot point. You've got to have a midpoint context shift. You've got to have a, you know what I'm saying? You've got to have a 3-act structure that has definite hinge points. And you have to have a character that develops, changes, and has a goal. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you've got to have those basic things. And if you don't have those, the moviegoer or the novel reader may not be able to tell you in those terms, but they'll know something's wrong. And they won't. They'll tune out, close the book, throw it away. But mostly, I think that's where the problem is. And because they sit around and wait for inspiration, they don't study the craft, and they don't hone those skills. And that's what I think. And since they don't study the craft and they just wait for inspiration, they think because they've seen a lot of movies or they read a lot of books that then they can automatically write a great book or write a great screenplay. But that's like saying, because I've driven over lots of bridges, then I know how to build a bridge. There are a few coaches that are kind of going against the tide. Blake Snyder was one. He died a few years back, but he wrote a great book called Save the Cat. Larry Brooks is another one. If it hadn't been for Larry Brooks, I may not have ever completed my first book because I was so lost in this there are no rules world. But after I read his book, Story Engineering, it really gave me some handles on what I was doing. It just blew me away. It helped me understand what I was actually trying to do, or what I wanted to do, the feeling that I wanted to give the readers that were reading my book. So you can ignore the rules, and it will cost you dearly. It wasted years and years and years of me trying to put together what I wanted to do. But until most wannabe screenwriters in Hollywood start bringing the idea of structure back to writing, more stories will be written that will increase the odds of better screenplays. Right now, I just think there's a dearth of it because there's just not a lot of people out there creating quality stories. So Hollywood has to do the best it can do, and therefore I think then since screenplay writers are not creating huge amounts of screenplays, then they have to revert back to the old stuff. Okay, that's the end. Now, normally when I'm typing, I can hit backspace and write it better, but this I've just had to wing it as people are walking by. But if you enjoyed it and you like it, love it, sharing is caring. Share it with somebody you know. And if you'd like to get updates in the future, go join my website. Join my mailing list. I won't spam you, and nobody will get your email. And you can find my website at alangbagbee.com. G is for gangster. All right. I hope you enjoyed this, Donna, and anybody else if you tuned in. Bye.